this April 23rd Jackson County Commission meeting to order. Roll call, Ms. Erickson.
District 1, Tim Guffey.
Present.
District 2, Jason Venable. District 3, Dennis Miller.
Present.
District 4, Stacy Levin.
Present.
Quorum is present, so we can conduct business. Have our invocation by Mr. Porter and our pledge by Mr. Benton. Next item is approval of the minutes from the previous meeting. We have our minutes from the April 8th meeting and have time to review these. Is there a motion to approve these as presented?
So moved.
Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on this item? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Okay. Next item is approve the agenda of the meeting. We request to add 2 items. I'd like to add as item number 3 or 3A, dump trucks, regarding the purchase of new dump trucks. I believe the first item 2 will be declaring the current ones surplus, and we'll need to authorize them to purchase new ones. And then item 11, uniforms for public works. We'll discuss that when we get to that point. Questions on that. So with those changes, do we have any other changes before we proceed? We have a motion to approve the agenda with those 2 additions. Motion, we have a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. Have no awards and presentations. Have anyone sign up this evening? Mr. Marzella, Securus.
Yes. Actually, I didn't know if I needed to sign up or not. I'm just here for the discussion later on.
Okay. Since you signed up, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Not at this time.
Okay. Okay, we'll move on. There's no old business, so we'll move on to new business now. First item, motion to approve the Engineering Services Association for solid waste. And actually, I'd like to ask that we table this tonight. Mr. Widener is working on getting an agreement together, and we're still asking the communities as far as participation in this. I think we've got another couple of months before we have to approve this, but we'll try to get this on the May's meeting. So at this time, a motion to table this item. Motion with a second. Discussion on this, questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Next item, motion to surplus vehicles and equipment for public works, jail, and park departments. You should have all those items in your folder. A request from the sheriff regarding some items from the jail, the list of public works vehicles, and are these Mack trucks? Is it the recommendation of the committee to include these Mack trucks on this surplus?
It is.
And those will be sold at auction, is that correct?
That is correct. Guaranteed price.
And also a vehicle at the Parks Department. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So we have those items before us. We have a motion to declare those items surplus.
So moved.
Motion, we have a second.
Second.
And the sale of these equipments, particularly for public works, I guess will go back into their funds for equipment. Is that correct? Any discussion, further discussion on this item?
Would you reiterate how these get sold? Are these just go on the website or?
The items from the jail, unless there's a request otherwise, they'll go on Gov Deals
Okay.
and they'll be sold that way. The only items that I understand that will be sold differently will be those Mack trucks, and those will be through auction.
Okay.
And Mr. Widener has asked that I put the surplus listing as a part of the minutes for this meeting.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, we have all those items before us. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Okay. Next item is authorization for Public Works to purchase dump trucks to replace these that are being sold. The cost of these will be paid for out of the salvage value, the value after these other items are sold. Any additional cost, as I understand it, will come out of their equipment fund as well. So with that understanding, before further discussion, we have a motion to proceed. Motion, we have a second. there any further discussion on this item? We're purchasing the same amount of trucks that are replacing the same trucks. Any other questions or comments? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Next item, motion to approve extended warranty of collector trucks at the cost of $3,845 per truck. This was brought to us the previous work session. So before further discussion, we have a motion to approve this move, or extend these warranties.
So moved.
Motion, do we have a second? Any further discussion on this item?
The amount is a little different than was on the sheet. But we chose to do the port converters, a couple items on the bottom, because this is normally what goes out, and some of the most expensive parts of the truck. Just to explain that a little bit.
So that comes to $3,845?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions or comments? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. Motion to approve extending the lease for the Alabama Forestry Department and helping with the erecting the pole barn out there. We have that agreement in your packets. Do you have time to review that? Okay. Any questions or comments on that one? Okay. The only thing that I would ask is that, of course, this agreement be approved upon the approval, I guess, of the other two entities involved, that they also participate in this. So I would ask that we approve that with that condition. At this time, we'll entertain a motion to make that approval. Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
And that's with that condition. Any other questions or comments on this item?
We will just be upfront paying for the cost, but reimbursed as well.
Correct. And we'll make sure all that is in order before we proceed. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Okay, next item, motion to approve $2,500 expense for the Catfish Festival. This was brought this last week also. This is something that's done regularly, and what I'd like to ask is that we just amend the budget for this amount and hopefully put this in the budget in future years if we're going to continue to do it. So this time we entertain a motion to amend the budget for this amount for the Parks Department. Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
Who's the payment we make?
The payment will be made. Any further discussion on this item? Questions or comments? Have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. Okay, next item, motion to approve discontinuing the electric credit for campers at the Jackson County Park to go into effect July 2013. Again, this was brought to us at the previous work session. I believe you have that paperwork, Mr. Barnes.
No, we don't save it, we save the county about it, we save it about $18,000 a year.
That's fine.
I have a letter, Mr. Hodges, that me and you both have. Look at this.
We've got the other one here. Again, this was brought to us at the previous work session, so before any further discussion, we have a motion to proceed with this. Motion, we have a second.
Second.
Is there any further discussion on this?
I'll send those letters out, starting with billing this month from May, and I'll do a couple months too.
Is it billed monthly?
Yes, we started billing toward the end of the month, and we have that in first.
Okay.
So they'll have it in their hand by May 1st.
Right.
Will you divert these funds back to the general fund, or will you divert it back to something in the park?
For the time being, they'll go to the park. We haven't approved or made the changes. We made some changes as requested, but we haven't approved that park budget. I would like to see that we start reimbursing the general fund, but there are projects that we do. So when we go to that park budget, we'll address that. Any other questions or comments? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no. Okay, next item, motion to approve the telecommunications contract for the Jackson County Jail. We've had two requests or two contracts that have been proposed, one from Securus and the other from Telmate. We've had time to review these. I think everybody's taking a look at these. So this time we'll entertain a motion to proceed with either group.
I'm gonna make a motion that we approve the Telmate contract.
Have a motion for Telmate. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Discussion on this item? Questions or comments? How quickly?
I have a question. Make sure you agree with the time contract we discussed.
Oh, yes, I guess the specification, we did have two proposals from Telmate, a 3-year contract and a 5-year contract. Which one were you proposing?
3 years.
The 3-year contract, so we have a motion and a second for the 3-year contract with Telmate, is that correct? Okay, further discussion? What kind of time frame are we looking at on this, if this does get approved?
Well, we can have, as soon as we get the contract signed, we can order the lines, and as soon as the lines are installed, I mean, we can put phones in right then, probably within 45 days.
I think one of the things that had come up was also with the wiring, it does say infrastructure in here, but if we put in the minutes, specify that's the understanding also with the wiring being taken care of.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You're aware your current contract runs through early part of June.
Right.
When the wiring is done, there's not a question, will be done by code.
Yes, sir. They're certified electricians.
And we took the schedule that's currently on this one, the contract will reflect just 3 years. Instead of going down to the 7th-year anniversary.
No, that's, if we approve the 3-year contract, I think that recoupment schedule remains. Oh, yeah, it'll be through the, I think, 5th and 6th year.
That may be different based on what revenue is generated. I mean, that may be shorter than that. That's just if it just keeps on at the percentage that it is now. But I think.
We're going to be binding just for the 3rd anniversary, because that's what we're saying.
Right.
I think that has 2 1-year renewal options. It gives you the right to renew.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Okay, next item is a motion to reclassify the coordinator position at the Council on Aging. You have in your packets the updated nutrition coordinator's job description, and this puts this position at a grade 4, step 1. And of course, this is again to bring the coordinator positions in line, make it a little more, I guess, in order for the pay goes for those positions. No money will be coming out of the commission budget for this. This will be paid for out of the Council on Aging budget. No increase to what we already give the Council on Aging. So do we have a motion to approve this reclassification? Motion, we have a second. Any discussion on this side? Questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. Next item, motion to approve the recommendation from the Parks Committee for the temporary position at the park. We had,
Can I say something? That's for a full-time position. It's not temporary.
is that a letter, yeah. We've gone through the committee's gone through the hiring process, and have a recommendation, as noted in the letter here, for this full-time position. So, do we have a motion and a second to proceed with this recommendation for the committee? Motion, we have a second. Any discussion on this item? We have, beyond this, I think there's a temporary position which is already out there, and that will be filled. We did have 2 temporary positions though last year, is that correct?
Yes, we're just calling one this year.
Okay, so any further questions or comments on this item?
The other one's just seasonal, correct?
Right.
Discuss.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Okay, next item, motion to amend the budget for the jail to include training expenses and supplies. We have 2 items in your folder here. One, this was brought to us previously, the training expenses were for $1,640 to go in their travel and training. I'd also like to ask if you note an additional $10,000 to their supplies fund so that we can be prepared to house federal inmates if that arises and get some additional equipment that's needed out there. So an additional $10,000 for supplies and then of course to increase the budget by $1,640 on their travel and training budget. Entertain a motion to either approve both of these or separately, however you want to do it. We need to amend the budget to do
Make a
this.
motion for both of them.
Okay, have a motion for both. Do we have a second? Any discussion on this item?
Sheriff, how many jailers will that leave that still lack training?
About 10.
Are you gonna try to do
We
this?
just hired one today, so probably maybe every 12.
How can you try to send them?
Whenever the classes are in our area. About the last, I think we had one in Athens, and I don't even know where this one's at, but it's relatively close. Just whenever we have them, they have availability in their school. And we don't send them long distances for them. They're usually around this area, all about an hour.
How often do they can, only twice a year?
Well, you can only send 2 at a time to prevent being short at the jail. So we try to get one off of each shift that may be off or whatever if they come in. The 2 we're looking at here, one's been there 5 years and he's not been. The other one's been there 2 years and he's not been. So, we have such a turnover over there. You want to wait and give them some time, make sure they're going to stay at the jail before you send them to the school.
Right.
And that's why somebody's been there for so long and not me.
You don't think there's any possibility, or it might not even be feasible, you have so many, do you think you could get a class here
I don't know.
to try to get these folks trained?
Well, the problem with that is you couldn't put 10 of them in school every day.
Okay.
That's half of each shift there at the school just about.
Will you be looking to do any more this year?
Very possible if the school comes up.
Within this fiscal year, I mean, before October, or,
Probably one more group, maybe 2 more people.
do
It
we,
just depends on when and where they have to school.
right, do we want to increase this beyond that 1640 or wait until that time?
Let's wait until that time because I don't know where it's going to be.
I have a question for the sheriff. Does Jefferson County still have an academy?
Yes, as far as I know.
Do they, at one time, they were teaching the jail management course in their academy. Is that still?
I couldn't answer that. You probably know more about that.
If you would, when y'all check on that and maybe look at in the future, if any deputies arise, go to the same jail management course. Of course, that's an additional 2 weeks.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, I have a motion to amend the budget for both of these amounts. And a second, all those in favor say aye. Those opposed, say no. The final item, uniforms for Public Works. I know the Public Works Committee has been working with the folks at Public Works as far as researching what it would take for uniforms. I'd like to proceed with that. In order to do that, what we'll need to do tonight is authorize me to amend, or authorize myself to move necessary funds from the Public Works personnel budget to cover whatever the cost of these uniforms are. Did we have an idea of what that amount would be per year? I can't recall what the total amount, wouldn't be too much more for this year. Cover the rest of it.
It's in the tune of $12,000 to $14,000 a year to This is solid waste also.
Include all.
Is that correct, Ms. Manning?
No, that's what I have written.
And I think that's what we had come up. And it may be a little bit less, that was just the initial numbers that came up.
And for this year, it'd be less than half of that since we've already proceeded.
That's correct.
We may need to look at that total cost and see if that's going to require a bid for the next fiscal year, but to cover the rest of this year, we'll need to move those funds. Again, we have personnel positions that have not been filled in Public Works. We can move funds from that personnel line item to cover these uniforms for the remainder of this fiscal year. So if you'd like to proceed, that's how we'll need to proceed. Entertain a motion to proceed with that, and authorize me to do that.
And these uniforms also, just so you know, are the reflective uniforms that's required working on the road. And all got the reflective stickers all over them. That Public Works employees has chosen.
Take a motion and a second.
Second.
Any discussion, further discussion on this item? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. That concludes the items on our agenda, so we'll move on to our reports. Ms. Erickson?
I don't have anything, thank you.
Ms. Manning? Mr. Porter?
I don't have anything.
Sheriff? Mr. Boggs?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
would I be able to ask the question at this time?
Sure.
Having been your inmate telephone provider since, I believe, 1998, and having, I've been asked in the last few weeks for a lot of documents, some of which with very short turnaround time, and I've provided all of those. In discussions with Sheriff Office and jail staff, I get the impression everyone's been very pleased and happy with Securus' service over the years. Is this the point where I can ask perhaps for some of the reasons why a motion was made?
Something like that would be maybe individually after the meeting, speak to each commissioner individually if you'd like, or ask as opposed to.
Okay. Was it a unanimous vote? Is that what I understand?
Yes, sir. So 4-0.
Okay. All right, so just do that individually?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Miller? Mr. Guffey? Mr. Bennett? Mr. Levy?
Friday night, 6 to 8, Small Business Council is putting on a dinner at Carlisle's from 6 to 8 for elected officials. Anyone can please make plans to be there.
I think everyone received the invitation, and it is open to the public, I believe, as far as if they'd like to. Anything else? Okay, that includes the items on our agenda. I would like to say one thing. I'd like to thank Public Works for their involvement in out here, obviously. We've got some dirt going in. I think you've all seen the topsoil we put in, and then a tree that's come down out here that was rotting and dying. So I appreciate the work that Public Works is doing on that. There's obviously a lot of projects we've got coming on, a lot that we hope to do, and we appreciate the folks over there. So if you would send that thanks to them. I know that this has been appreciated today. I know it will be appreciated when we're finished with it. So thanks to all our departments for all the work that they do. We hope to continue to improve and continue to do better. So with that, that concludes everything. We'll entertain a motion to adjourn.